Hi, it's Jeff with yourlearningcareer.com. New employee orientation can be a great way to get employees excited and ready to go to work. Now, unfortunately, when companies do it wrong, it can have the opposite effect. It can make people question why they're there. They might be wondering, what in the heck have I gotten myself into? Over the last 25 years, I have facilitated lots and lots of new employee orientations for companies both big and small, including Walt Disney World traditions. So I have seen and been a part of some really, really great new employee orientations. And I've also seen some that weren't so great. So today I want to share with you 5 of the top reasons new employee orientations fail. Number 5 is that it's seen as an afterthought. A lot of companies know that they should have some kind of new employee orientation. Unfortunately, no one really wants to be in charge of it or be responsible for it. And so it becomes more of a chore and a nuisance. And that's a real shame, because when it's treated like that, when it's kind of an afterthought that nobody wants to take responsibility for, that comes across to the employees. And then they feel like they're a nuisance because they can tell that nobody really wants to deal with it. Now, at Walt Disney World, traditions was taken extremely seriously. In fact, there was an entire team dedicated to this one class. And to teach traditions was a big honor. You actually had to go through a rather lengthy interview and audition process. Now, you don't necessarily have to take it to that level to have a successful new employee orientation, but you do want it to be more than just an afterthought. Number 4, no human interaction. A lot of companies are putting more and more training online, which, by the way, I'm all for. And even in new employee orientation, I'm actually a big advocate of taking portions of it and putting it online for maybe something self-paced, whether it's e-learning or a video. I think that is fine if you have things that you want to take out of the classroom portion so you can focus on other things. So what I'm talking about is making everything online with no human element whatsoever. And to give you an example, I worked for a small healthcare consulting company, and we were swallowed up by IBM. And I remember when we made the transition to IBM, the orientation was basically a whole bunch of stuff on the company intranet. There were links, I guess there were some videos, there were things to read, but it was all totally self-paced and all online. Now again, I very much appreciate that. I understand why that's appealing for companies to make everything self-paced. The only thing was, I felt very disconnected from the company because I didn't have any faces, names. I didn't have anything like that. I mean, outside of my manager and my immediate team. So that was rather disappointing to me. And I think that is a risk when you try to push everything to online and self-paced. Having some kind of interaction, even if it's virtual, just something where people can see each other, something where people can connect with other people, put faces with names, ask questions live, just some kind of human element. Number 3, no variety in speakers. A lot of times, companies will have one designated person who's responsible for new employee orientation, and that is the only person that the new employees see or hear from. And in fact, as I was reflecting, I realized that one of the new employee orientations I taught when I worked for CarMax was called the CarMax Way. And it was a really good program, but when I was thinking about it, I realized during that one-day session, I was the only trainer or facilitator or speaker for the whole day. Now, like I said, the program actually overall was very good. It had really good content. It had good activities. I do think there was a missed opportunity, though, for bringing in some other speakers, like maybe a member of management at the store or a salesperson. Something to break it up. It's nice for the audience to have different people to listen to. So in contrast, one of the new employee orientations I taught was at a hospital system. Now there we had lots of guest speakers. We had different people from different departments. We had nurses, we had HR people, we had members of senior leadership, including the company's CEO when he was available, which was awesome. It really made it a very rich experience. Now, the only thing is, I would caution, if you are going to bring in guest speakers, you just need to be really clear about time limits, just because most of the time the people that are coming in to do this, they're very passionate about what they do, which is what you want. You just have to make sure that they keep their passion in the allotted time. So that's just something to be aware of, and make sure that everyone's on the same page with regard to how much time they have when they come in and speak. But it is so worth it just to get the expertise and the variety that they bring. Really makes a positive impact on your new employee orientation. Number 2, making all of your topics business, process, or safety related. This is what a lot of companies do. They kind of use new employee orientation as a dumping ground for, oh, they need to know this, they need to know this, they need to know this. And they make it a huge info dump of safety and policy and procedure and this kind of thing. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have any of that in your new employee orientation. I'm just saying if that's all new employee orientation is, you're looking at a very, very boring day, day and a half, or however long it is. You've got to put other things in there. And specifically, if you want people to connect with your company, you need to inject it with the company values and the company culture. This is something Disney does brilliantly. When I taught Walt Disney World traditions, one of the big things we focused on was the company culture, the company history. We really made that connection with the new employees about why they should be excited to work for this company. And we covered safety too at Disney. So we definitely did hit on those types of topics like safety and how important it is. But then we also very much focused on company culture and history, like I said. And that was also the case at Houston Methodist when I taught the orientation at the hospital system. Obviously, as a hospital, we had to cover safety topics. But again, we also very much emphasized the values, the culture, the history, all of those things that will make your employees feel connected to your company. And the number one reason new employee orientations fail is a lack of fun, a lack of interactivity. Again, you know, companies sometimes they think it all has to be serious business. Oh, we don't have time for fun, or that's a bunch of fluff. They think that having fun is a waste of time, and that's just not the case. Look at a big, huge company like Disney. They're very successful, and guess what? Their new employee orientation is very fun. There's a lot of fun interactivity built into it. We would even actually go into the Magic Kingdom and ride a ride. You can't get more fun than that. You want the new employees to connect with your company. And at the same time, you also want them to connect with each other. And that is why it is so important to add those elements of fun, interactivity, whether it's through games, activities, whatever it is, there needs to be something in there that gives people a chance to get to know each other. I was always amazed at the types of connections people made in the new employee orientation. In every company I worked for where I was a part of the new employee orientation, I would always have people come up to me. And when I say this, I mean years later, like a year or two or more, would pass by and someone would come up to me and say, "Hey, you taught my orientation. Gosh, that was so great. I remember." And they would tell me, they would recount things that they remembered from the new employee orientation. And that was at Disney for sure, but it wasn't just there. That's been pretty much everywhere I've worked. And it just speaks to the power of allowing people to make those connections, have fun, and really get excited. And if you're looking for help on making your new employee orientation more fun, more interactive, I've got you covered. I've actually got an article that I'm going to link to in the description. I've got a playlist of different activities, games, icebreakers, things like that. So check that out. And then I also have another video for you to look at with more advice on new employee orientations. If you find this helpful, make sure to like, let me know in the comments about anything else you'd like to see here, and I thank you. We'll see you next time.